They thought they were safe. They believed that if they dug a hole deep enough and covered it with perfect grass, the secret would stay hidden forever. But in Lagos, the ground does not forget. This is not a cemetery. This is a private home, and the man buried beneath this soil was not a criminal. He was a hero, a legend, a man loved by millions. For years, his family was silenced. The public was told to move on, and those with power made sure no one asked questions. But tonight, the silence is broken. The chief has given one order: bring him out. Because you can bury a body, but you cannot bury the truth. To understand why this hole is being opened, we must go back. Back to when this man was a legend, before the shadow of a friend and the secrets of a maid destroyed everything. Tonight, the ground will speak. Obinna was not just a footballer. He was the king of the pitch. He grew up playing barefoot in the dust with a ball made of rags. But by 20, he was playing in the biggest stadiums in the world. His talent was something people stopped to watch. When he returned to Lagos, he was treated like royalty. Children wanted to be him. Men wanted to stand beside him for pictures. He built a mansion that looked like a palace. He drove cars that turned heads. He had a wife who stood with him through every moment, and 2 sons who looked at him like he was everything. To the world, Obinna had won. But there is a problem with being a king. Everyone wants your crown. And while Obinna focused on the game, he didn't see the danger in his own home. From the outside, everything looked perfect. But inside, something was wrong. Obinna began to notice small things: doors left open, items missing then returning, a feeling that someone was always watching. But every time doubt entered his mind, Amara, the maid, was there, smiling, helpful, perfect. One afternoon, he walked into the kitchen and saw her wearing his wife's necklace, not stealing it, wearing it, looking at herself like she belonged there. When she saw him, she didn't panic. She removed it slowly and smiled. "I was just cleaning it, sir." Her voice was soft, calm. "I was just cleaning the clasp, sir. It's so beautiful, just like your wife." And somehow, he believed her. And that's when things got worse. Every king has a shadow. For Obinna, that shadow was Ray, his manager, a man he trusted like a brother. But something didn't make sense. Ray had changed, always rushing, always pushing papers, always asking Obinna to sign without reading. One day, Obinna's wife saw something she was never meant to see. Through a half-open door, she watched Ray practicing Obinna's signature over and over again, perfecting it. She was about to step in, but Amara appeared behind her. "The children need you." By the time she turned back, the evidence was gone, clean, like nothing happened. In that moment, she understood. She was not safe, and neither was her husband. Amara was not just a worker. She was placed. She used kindness like a weapon. She learned everything: how the family spoke, what they liked, when they were weak. At night, she practiced the wife's voice, the wife's walk, the wife's presence. She was not stealing a life. She was preparing to replace one. And when the wife tried to confront her, Ray stopped her, silently, coldly, like he was protecting something bigger. That's when the truth became clear. They were working together, and the house was already theirs. While Obinna was busy being a hero to the world, a second life was growing in the shadows. You see, Obinna wasn't just a soccer king. He was a family man who wanted a big family, and Amara knew exactly how to use that hunger against him. She told him there were children she was taking care of,
children who had no father in their lives. Amara later told Obinna that these children were the result of a secret affair they had years ago. She played on his guilt. She told him, "They are your blood, Obinna, but I was scared to ruin your reputation and marriage." Because he was a man of honor, he didn't ask for papers. He didn't ask for tests. He just opened his heart and his wallet. He thought he was protecting his secret heirs, because asking questions would mean facing the possibility that he had made a mistake, or worse, that he had abandoned something that was his. So instead, he chose responsibility, quietly. He paid for the house, covered the school fees, made sure those children never lacked. He told himself he was doing the right thing, protecting something that needed protection. But something didn't make sense. The more he helped, the more distant the truth felt. And the more he looked at those children, the less he saw himself in them. Obinna wasn't raising his own blood. He was funding the life of the man who was currently stealing his soul. Every school fee, every birthday gift, every bag of rice he sent to that house was a brick in the wall they were building to bury him. Ray didn't just want the money, he wanted the life. He would visit that secret house and play father while Obinna was away on tour. They were playing a game of house with Obinna's money, waiting for the day they could move into the palace and stop hiding. They weren't just a secret family, they were a replacement. And by the time the truth started to show in the boy's eyes, it was already too late. While Obinna rested, they were already moving into his house. Documents stolen, signatures forged, money moved. Piece by piece, they erased him. His name, his ownership, his control. Even when his wife almost caught them, they talked their way out, calm, prepared. By the time they were done, Obinna still had everything, but nothing belonged to him anymore. All they needed now was for him to disappear. Obinna had been feeling weak for weeks, but tonight the air in the room felt like poison before he even touched the glass. He tried to sit up, but his muscles felt like water. Amara entered. She didn't knock. She walked with the confidence of someone who already owned the floor she was stepping on. In her hand, a glass of water. "Drink, sir," she whispered. Her voice wasn't kind anymore. It was a command wrapped in a suggestion. Obinna reached out, his hand trembling. He brought the glass close to his lips, but then he stopped. The smell, it wasn't just water. It had a sharp metallic edge, the smell of a chemical. He hesitated. He looked into Amara's eyes, searching for the girl who used to hum lullabies to his sons, but her eyes were like glass. "Where is my wife, Amara?" he croaked. She didn't answer. She just tilted the glass closer to his mouth. Obinna looked past her, toward the open door of the walk-in closet. There, in the deepest shadows, stood Ray. Ray wasn't moving. He was just a silhouette, his arms crossed, watching his brother die. Obinna looked at Ray, then back at the water, then back at Ray. He wanted to scream. He wanted to throw the glass at the wall. But the weakness was already in his bones, and Amara was pushing the glass towards his mouth. He realized in that moment that he wasn't just sick, he was being executed. Ray took one step forward into the dim light. He didn't say, "I'm sorry." He didn't look away. He just checked his watch. He was timing it. Obinna realized he was outnumbered in his own sanctuary. With a shaking hand, he tried to push the glass of water away, but she forced it down his throat. He closed his eyes, and slowly the world slipped away, in silence. By morning, everything had changed. The locks were replaced, the papers were ready, the wife and children were pushed out of their own home with the support of Obinna's family. Amara sat in her place, running the show, wearing her jewelry, living her life. They didn't just want him dead, they wanted him erased. While the city of Lagos slept, they dragged the wooden crate to the backyard. They didn't take him to the family plot in the village. They buried him in his own home. They had a lawyer in place that they paid heavily to maintain the silence, or so they thought. His wife contacted the police. She went to court, but the judges were bribed and the matter thrown out. Years passed, but the truth did not die. Social media never kept quiet. Fans of Obinna suspected foul play. Anger rose. Questions grew louder. No justice, no peace. Until one day, the chief stepped in. He saw the lies. He heard the truth.
And he gave the order, "Bring him out." The chief's men broke the seal. As the crane lifted that heavy gray slab, the crowd went silent. They expected to find a legend's remains. But when the medical team opened the crate, the lead forensic doctor gasped and turned away. The truth revealed something worse. The inside of the lid wasn't smooth. It was covered in deep, jagged scratches. Obinna's fingernails were gone, embedded in the wood. He was alive when they poured the concrete. He had woken up in the dark, feeling the weight of the house and the stone pressing down on him. He had fought for air while Ray and Amara were upstairs drinking his wine. But as the police moved to put the final handcuffs on Ray, the chief looked at a piece of paper found inside the crate. A small scrap of fabric Obinna had managed to tear from his killer's sleeve during the struggle. It wasn't Ray's fabric, and it wasn't Amara's. The color, the expensive silk, it belonged to the one person no one suspected. The person who had provided the legal papers. The person who had made sure the police never came. There was a third person. Someone who is still walking the streets of Lagos today. Someone who is watching this video right now. Still hiding. Justice was not the end. It was the beginning. Because the ground is not done speaking. What do you think? Who was the third person, and should the children pay for the sins of their parents? Tell me in the comments. And remember, no matter how deep the lie is buried, the truth always finds a way out. Subscribe for more.